Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be bringing you guys a 2023 Washington Commanders salary cap breakdown going into the offseason, how much the Commanders have in cap space now, and what they can do to create more. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and the notification bell. It does help out a ton. And sorry for the background, guys. It's a little bit messy. Gonna, switch to the regular spot, but just got back to college. So, like I said, things are a little bit messy. But let's get into it. So the Washington Commanders enter the 2023 offseason with a lot of things they need to do, and that'll start with creating some cap space to sign some free agents, maybe possibly make some trades, and re-sign some of their own and extend some of their own. So let's get into how they can do all that. So the Commanders have around $7.5 million in cap space. I looked at it last week and they had way more, so I'm not sure why that's the case. I know they signed some guys to the futures reserve list, but maybe that's just over the cap, correcting their cap number. And I think there's a rollover cap number too that will get added later on. But right now they have around $7.5 million in cap space, so not a lot, but they have some things they can do to create some cap space. Number one is releasing Carson Wentz. Releasing Carson Wentz creates over $26 million in cap space. That is a 100% must do. It doesn't matter. Just do it. He is not the answer at quarterback at all, and definitely not for the price that we have to pay him for this year. And saving $26 million is great and puts you at 33, almost $34 million. So, I mean, you just have to do that. You absolutely have to make that move. It creates so much cap space and allows you to do so much and gives you a lot of comfort. Whereas 7.5 mil, you're going to have to make some moves you don't really want if you're keeping Carson Wentz. And if you do somehow keep Carson Wentz, I guarantee you it will not be at the price it is right now. It'll be at a restructured rate, and if he doesn't agree to that restructure, they will release him. So there's some other things they can do for sure, and some other guys they can release. One guy is Logan Thomas, and Logan Thomas, it is unfortunate, but he's just not the same after Yannick Ngakoue. It was a little bit of a dirty hit in my opinion. After that, he really hasn't been the same. And I think the Commanders should release him or definitely restructure a ton and see if you can use some of that money to sign another free agent. So you do that, it saves you about over $5 million in cap space, and you can either draft a guy, sign a veteran, a cheap veteran, and draft a guy. There's a lot of things that you can do right there. So that right there puts you at about $39 million in cap space, but there's still some things you can do. I'm really interested. I think J.D. McKissic, there might be some, injury settlement or he retires that saves them some money. That could happen. If it does, it saves them about 1.25 mil if they release him. I think there's a solid shot he's not here next year. Whether it's they want to save some money, even though it's not a lot, or it's just that he retires. That's kind of my guess because of the neck injury. It seems very serious. Who knows? But let's just say that happens. Puts him at 40 mil. And there's still some other things they can do. Joey Sly, I'm not going to necessarily cut him, but if they do, it saves them about $1.8 million. But I'm going to put him back here. Maybe we'll look at that a little bit later. Andrew Norwell is another one where maybe you don't release him, but I think if you find a better replacement or a guy in the, a better free agent or a guy in the draft, I think you do release him. But let's say you don't. I think you try to restructure that deal a little bit or convert it to a signing bonus. Maybe get that number down to 3.12 or whatever, and that saves you about $2 million. He just doesn't warrant the money he's making, even though it's not even that much money. He doesn't warrant that money. A couple other deals. I don't think they should release Charles Leno or Kendall Fuller, but I'll show you what happens if they do. And these are all pre-June 1st cuts. Post-June 1st cuts are a little bit different. But Charles Leno, that would save them $8 million, okay, in cutting him. Kendall Fuller, don't think it should, and I don't think it will happen. Cutting him will save $8.5 million. And I even saw some people say Curtis Samuel. Cutting him saves about 5.8. I just don't think that makes sense. But and Chase Roulier is another one I've seen. If you cut him, you save about 4.8. But you could also cut him post June, June 1st, and get a lot more savings. I don't know if any of these guys will get cut. You could see maybe a trade for one of these guys. You know, if they feel really good about the receiver room, maybe they could trade Samuel. I saw people talk about that on Twitter. I would personally just keep Curtis Samuel. I think he's very valuable, and I'm excited to see how our next offensive coordinator can use him. And yeah, so I would just keep him. But again, I think with a lot of these deals, you can restructure. Like Charles Leno, maybe you can get that number down to 10 or something like that. The front office isn't very creative with how they, create cap space. Like a lot of teams just convert, a lot of the contract to signing bonuses, and that just frees up a bunch of money. And this team doesn't do it, but I think they really should. So if they did that, saves 2.5 mil, and they get to about 45 mil, and let's say Kendall Fuller, they try to do something with that, and let's say they get the deal down to 7 mil, and that saves about 4, and they're close to 48 mil. And there's other cut possibility as well. Bob McCain, I think he played okay at slot corner. Like if you can find an upgrade, then maybe you can cut him. But if not, I'm fine with him back. But that saves you about 2.3 mil, and that has you at over $51 million in cap space. And I believe that is without the rollover, and the Commanders will have some rollover cap space, which will give them even more. So the Commanders have more than enough money, more than enough cap space to make moves this offseason, and not only signing free agents and the draft picks, but also re-signing some of their own. Like let's look at not Montez Sweat. Daron Payne is a guy that I think they need to try to re-sign. He's not on the books here. Cameron Curl is a guy that I definitely think they should try to re-sign. I mean, what is he under contract for? Very cheap. His contract, trying to find it. Yeah, he's on the books for a little over $1 million this year. So try to get a deal done now before it gets too late. And there's some other guys on this list that they could cut again to save some money, like Joey Sly and others. Again, Joey Sly would create about $2 million in cap space. So that's someone I definitely wouldn't mind them cutting if they found a better replacement, because Joey Sly for sure struggled for the Commanders at times this year. The beginning of the year and the last game of the season were not good for him. So if they find a better guy, by all means, go ahead and get them. So that's kind of it on the Commanders. The salary cap breakdown, they're in good position to get a decent amount of cap space by cutting Wentz, cutting Logan Thomas, and a couple other not like top tier guys, but someone like J.D. McKissick, Bob McCain, Andrew Norwell, guys like that. You can create like $5-6 million just doing that. And then also restructuring deals. There's a few players like Kendall Fuller, Charles Leno, Chase Roulier, and Curtis Samuel that could get restructured for sure. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace. Happy Martin Luther King Day.